Dashboard Effect podcast. I'm Brick Thompson.
I'm Caleb Oakes.
Hey, Caleb.
Hey.
So today we wanted to discuss investing the time and effort into understanding your data sources in order to get good outcomes in BI.
Yeah, why that's important. It's really, really important. And I don't think people understand how important it is.
Well, I think we even take it for granted sometimes.
Yeah.
Frankly.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's lots of different types of data that you're going to run across. You could have unstructured data. You could have structured text data, XML, JSON, that type of stuff. You could have Excel files. Mostly what we're dealing with, though, in this case is structured data, databases coming out of transactional systems like ERPs, and then put into some kind of good reporting format, some kind of data warehouse or an OLAP cube, something like that makes it easy to deal with. And as we were talking about it before starting to record, we realized that the data is often kind of a black box for the business users, and that's a real hindrance to getting a good outcome in a BI project.
Right. I mean, if people don't understand it, they're not going to do anything with it. So, and they're sure not going to put much thought into how do I use this data because you just don't understand it, right?
Right.
I mean, we've seen it. A really good example is our director of project management, Jenny. She was on an earlier episode, and when we did a bunch of work to where she got really comfortable with the data, she knows it in and out now.
Our data.
Yeah, our data and kind of how our operational data works and kind of who plays a role where and how data ultimately flows into our system. And now she's taking things and building reports and has much better insight into what's going on in the project management office and in delivery as a whole than she would have before. And I think it was just like building that understanding has helped a lot. And I think it's just satisfying too for her.
Yeah, that's a great example because she would describe herself as not particularly technical. She's great at using technical tools. She's very smart, but not a BI report builder. And now she is because she understands the data. And that's not to say we want everybody to have to become a report builder, but if you don't understand the data, if it is a black box, I think you were making the point when you first started talking about Jenny, you don't even realize the opportunities to get benefit from doing reporting on the data. And on the flip side, you might assume you can get reporting or answers that maybe your data doesn't support, and that can be just as bad.
Yeah, right. Spin you off in the wrong direction and spend a bunch of time, and then it turns out it's not doable.
Well, in fact, we had a project actually still working on right now where the business users at our client had some particular goals in mind that the current data structure didn't really support well. And we frankly didn't do a great job of connecting the goals to the data structure. And so we had to go back and redo some of that. Yeah,
the goal just we made a wrong assumption on what the goal was. And then it was an educated guess, but it comes out it's something different, and what we had built just didn't work. So we had to build new structures and build a different data set. And that's what can bite you if you're not understanding everything.
Yeah,
understanding the data.
And that's on us. And we're a fixed price project company, so that's really on us. But it's also on us for not doing a better job of connecting those business users with the data structure and how it was going to work to support various things.
Sure, right. Mm-hmm.
So I think that's really important, and it's something anybody who's implementing BI should be thinking a lot about, and it's easy to overlook, right? If you're technical, you might think, I don't want to burden the business person with understanding it, but even just a conceptual understanding of how the data is structured, how it might relate to other data sources, what's available there, what's not, what data is clean, what data is not, are we doing good data quality on making sure that we've got good management where, for example, we talked a few weeks ago about you might have 6 different representations of the same customer, and so you're not able to do good roll-up reporting unless you deal with that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's so important for everybody to at least have a basic fundamental understanding of the data, build a little bit of data literacy, because you may not have to do all of those things and understand all of the ins and outs of the quality, but you need to understand what you're looking at when you look at a report that you're going to build. Ultimately, you do BI to build a report, and if your users don't understand what's there, there's a good chance that they're just going to ignore it, right? Like, I don't understand how this percentage is calculated, so whatever. I don't get it.
Gonna ignore it. Yeah, it's a good point. Or they'll miss an opportunity to get even more valuable insight by just asking for something.
Right.
That the technical person may not realize would give them great insight. So.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's really that bridge between business user and technical person, and that bridge has to be there so that it's actually interesting because the technical person has to know some about the business, right? They definitely should. And the business person then, and I don't think this is what gets talked about, should know a little bit about the data so that they can meet in the middle and create a good bridge between the two camps so that they can ultimately have really good reporting.
Yeah. So if you're doing BI at a company, and you have business users come to you and say, "Hey, I need this report," what do you think is the right level of sort of education you need to do with them? It's awfully tempting to go, "Yep, data supports that, great, I'll do it." Mm-hmm. But from what you're saying and what I believe, you'll get a better result if you do some engagement and get some conceptual understanding to really make sure you're maximizing. How do you think you do that well?
It's a really good question. I think it starts with just starting to surface some of the data, getting people used to looking at it, surfacing some of the nuance that you see in the data. A really good exercise, actually, and one of the things that I've always liked to do, just as a thought exercise, is when I'm thinking about a business process. You think about, you could think about it as like a workflow, and like what pieces and where does the data slot in? Like, this person creates this data point at this stage, right? And if you don't have to go super detailed into that, but just high level, truck driver goes to customer location, they create this piece of data, like I've arrived at the customer location, right? Just starting to understand business process, big picture, how does data interplay there? That's usually a great place to start.
Yeah. Sometimes you'll get a request for a report that the data doesn't support. And instead of fighting with the data and trying to come up with something that's maybe suboptimal, it sort of gets there, you can take a different look at that and say, wait, can we change our business process in some way to get that data? Can we do some manual collection that gets you to your business goal? Maybe it's a short-term goal. We just need to do manual data collection for the next 30 days to figure something out. Yep. Is there another data source we could bring online into our data warehouse to do it? It's super valuable, I think, if the business user can understand the limitations to help sort of figure out, okay, where's the right ROI here?
Yeah, abilities and limitations is huge.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you're talking about the abilities piece a lot, and the limitations just as important. Like, what can't we do? And if it's super important that you do it, then you've got to figure out a plan on how you get there. I think one of the good common examples is where you're saying, if we've got 6 systems all with customers in it, how do we map those customers together so that when we're looking at customer profitability, for example, or lifetime value, those all roll up into one. And first step is understanding that you probably can't do that right now.
Right. You're going to have to do some master data management. That's an investment. Mm-hmm. Make sure the ROI is there. Right.
And come up with the plan. How are we going to make this happen?
Yeah.
So understanding that limitation is huge.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to set out on a lifetime value journey to see that for your customers, and you're not going to get there.
Right.
You spend a bunch of time and get frustrated and realize your data doesn't support it.
And on the flip side, if you have alignment, at least conceptual alignment on abilities and limitations, you can get so much further. You gave a great example this morning, how you were thinking about ChatGPT, which everybody's using for all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I was thinking the biggest, or what I think is going to become a hindrance for some people, is just the understanding how it works. Like, how is it coming up with this answer?
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of people that don't care. But there's going to be people that are like, I don't understand this, so I'm not going to use it. Right? It doesn't make sense to me. So gaining that understanding of, at least at a basic level, of this is how it's taking your text and generating an answer for you, and here's how it has all this information, is going to be really important for people to start to understand. if they're going to make use of tools like
Right.
that. Same thing goes for data, right?
Right.
Got to have a basic understanding of what's there.
Right. So you know how to query it or what's queryable or what to expect if you do certain things.
Yeah, and why you might not get the answer you expected, right? There's all kinds of fun. I know GPT-4 just came out, but
Yeah.
on the old one, there was all kinds of funny prompts,
Right. To get it to do what you want.
to
Yeah.
give you a weird answer, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't know like how it's doing that and why it might give you an answer that it's giving you, you're gonna be like, that this thing sucks.
Yeah,
you know?
that's a great analogy. I think that's right. All right. What else to say on this?
I feel like we talked a lot.
I think we did too. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap up then for this week. Thanks, Caleb.
Good. Thank you.